Good morning, Jacksonville. Afternoon. Good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock here, and we have a weather impact live. And I hope you are staying warm on this very frigid day here in Jacksonville, Florida. There's a time lapse right there from the St. Johns River and as well as Jacksonville Beach. It's been chilly out there. Marlo behind the scenes is also with me. Marlo, if you don't mind switching us over to Max 4, that would be fantastic. But I like the live looks outside because it really gives you an idea just what it's been looking like. Those current temperatures into the high 30s to 40s. And this is why we have a weather impact alert here in Jacksonville through the rest of tonight and into tomorrow morning. On top of the cold we have already got. I know a lot of people have lost water here, power from the high winds we had last night, some downed trees. I even seen down tree limbs and branches in my neighborhood. We're in the middle of the road this morning. I had to kind of swerve to get around it. And personally, and I'll admit it, it's a little embarrassing. I forgot to run my faucet. And my pipes did freeze overnight. Thank goodness, though, I didn't have any issues with them bursting or anything like that. And basically, once the sun came out and hit them, they're just basically wrapped in kind of a black tape. Things warmed up and they did thaw pretty quickly. So yeah, it's been cold out there. So let's get into this. Let's talk about what we have going on out there today. Don't forget, we are also streaming live on some social media platforms. I'm actually pulling up our Facebook page right now. If you have any questions, comments, I would love to hear from you, as well as if you have any reports. Did you see the snow yesterday? Which I got some pretty decent photos here in just a second and video from some of our weather watchers. And do you have water at your house? I want to hear from you because I know there are some places all around town here. There's a lot of places that are lacking water because the pipes froze up overnight, they were burst, or maybe they're still frozen, especially if they sit in shadow. We still have a weather impact alert through the rest of today and into tomorrow morning. Temperatures getting down into the 20s yet again overnight. Now, the big difference between tonight and last night is the wind will not be that hollowing. I know my house was shaking. People were telling me it feels like just a cold tropical storm. It was windy, to say the least. Tonight, the winds are light and the skies are clear. And if you know anything about radiational cooling, clear skies, light winds also could equal some frost overnight, but the temperatures are going to drop. And once again, temperatures lower 20s there overnight. Could have some wind chills with even the lighter relative wind into the teens. It is going to get cold out there. I do want to show you the video, though. I mentioned this is from Frank out in St. Simon's Island. Frank catching some of those snow flurries flying yesterday. This is from Saturday afternoon when that front whipped on by. This is from Tom Arnold out in Middleburg. Talk about, I think it looks beautiful with the sun trying to peek through the clouds there. This was really hit or miss with all of these, though, because the snow bands were only a few miles wide. So if you got into it, you seen it, you got lucky. And the ground is way too warm for it to stick to the ground. The air is cold, but the ground takes longer time to get down below 32 degrees. So if the ground is even at 34, 35, I mean, that's cold for most of us. It's still not going to stick. Our overnight low after that snow kicked on by got down to 23 degrees. Absolutely frigid. If you take a look at Jacksonville's past 20 hours here, so we're just taking a look at our temperatures here at Jacksonville Airport. We had about 4 to 5 hours of 23-degree temperatures, but mind you, that came with a wind at about 15 to 25, gusting up to 30 miles per hour, and we haven't warmed up much. And this is why a lot of people are still having issues with some of those pipes out there. You know what else was going on around 7, 8 a.m.? The Donna Marathon. I am a little slow today, a little sluggish, because I did actually run. There you go. I'm gonna be that guy that said, "Hey, look at me." I ran the half not the full. And one thing I learned today is mad respect for everybody running the full marathon. It was my first half, and I was dying at the end of it. For people that were doing it twice, oh, geez. And this is all for a good cause. And I'm telling you, Jacksonville Beach, Neptune Beach, Atlantic Beach, just everybody on the sides of the roads, the entire run, there was people, ringing the bells, handing out water, Gatorade, some adult beverages I seen a lot. It was the community came together, and it was really beautiful. And I'm telling you, and it all goes for a good cause, of course, just fighting to eradicate cancer. This was a photo I took, though, right before the race at those absolutely frigid temperatures into the 20s. Oh my goodness, with those wind chills into the teens here. So let's talk about the broader picture. And I do want to talk about the storm that brought all of this, that area of low pressure off of the Carolinas. And you can see even here, look at the cold air spilling in all the way like that, wrapping around this just monster low just offshore, a bomb cyclone, and this brought nasty weather. Marlo, I would like to cue up the video out of Myrtle Beach. This is going to surprise, I think, some of you. At Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, some of our former anchors actually used to work here, and they say they recognize these spots. It does snow there, but this is pretty impressive. Several inches coming down on the ground there. This is right kind of in one of their like equivalents of a St. John's Town Center area. If you want to go out for a nice Saturday night date, this is where you would go. Oh, I think it's a little too chilly for that, but some pretty incredible video out of there. When you think Myrtle Beach, you usually think just like Jacksonville Beach or much of Florida. You usually think nice, warm weather. I mean, it snowed right out to the beach. There's a marina right there. Not doing much fishing tonight, I can tell you that. All right, Marlo, let's also throw up the North Carolina video, because just a little bit further towards the north, here's some aerials. I believe it's out of Rockhampton. I have to double check that. But I mean, look at the drone shots here. Whew, you see all the campers. It looks like an RV park. I would not want to be camping out there. Oh my goodness. And the problem, the further south you go, you get into North Carolina, South Carolina, you start to run into this type of frigid air, and you get that snowfall. Man, it's tough to deal with, but also it's tough to clear out because you just don't have the infrastructure in place, like the snow plows, salt and everything, so you can see those slick conditions. So that's the broader picture with our storm. I do see a question from Susan Mary. Thank you very much for jumping on our Facebook page here. If you go to First Coast News on our Facebook, is it going to be gusty tonight? Not as bad as last night, and I hope that answers your question. It is going to be a little breezy, and I got some graphics coming up to answer that a little bit more detail. It is definitely going to be breezy out there tonight, where the wind chill will be noticeable, but it will be nothing like last night. Last night was rough, I'm telling you that. So it will be an improvement, a little bit of a breeze. Tonight's going to be more of an issue with the dropping temperatures and the very frigid air in place. So yeah, here you go. You got that broader view here of our low pressure area pulling off towards the north, all that cold air continuing to spill in. And one thing real quick before I move on to the next graphic, you see all of this, these are cold weather clouds. You see right in the circle, these circles, and then here, this is more or less sea effect or ocean effect clouds. And I would dare say, you see some of the snow actually being picked up on radar just north of that, off of the Carolinas. That's actually basically ocean effect snow right there. So it's pretty incredible. And these clouds just showing like these lines, these are clouds, not streets, cloud lines. Streets are on road, cloud lines are out over the ocean. There's some meteorological fun words for you. Just a clear winter weather indicator. And the reason why we're getting this, of course, is because of that storm, the bomb cyclone. A bomb cyclone is called that because it drops in pressure in 24 millibars in just 24 hours. We have seen that, and it's pulling that air in from the north, and thus we had all of those windy conditions, but that cold air spilling in it all the way here. And you want to know something? As we go ahead through this week, it really isn't leaving until the end of the week. You can kind of see those areas in purples and blues lift a little bit further towards the north. So here's a look at our Futurecast for, well, starting this afternoon. I'm going to take a drink of some coffee real quick, friends. Ooh, save my voice. All right, so starting this afternoon, basically here at 3 o'clock, actually, you can even see the model here. This is really interesting. You know, sometimes I'm doing these updates and I'm looking at this and I'm actually analyzing it a bit just with you. So I can see the models are indicating that ocean effect snow, those ocean effect clouds, all the way down here, just off of the Space Coast. I'm a little worried tomorrow. So if we got snow like that offshore, tomorrow is supposed to be the wet dress rehearsal for the Artemis 2 mission. They delayed it from yesterday, because it was too cold. I think it's going to be still too cold tomorrow, definitely, which means the mission was delayed back to February 8th. It's probably going to be delayed further than that. I'm kind of the First Coast News point man for Artemis 2. So if you ever have any questions about it, send me a message at rspeta@firstcoastnews.com, or you can just reach out to me on my social media. It's probably the best way on Facebook or TikTok or wherever you are. I don't know. But that's probably the best way to reach me, because that's my bread and butter. I've been tracking, I was out there for Artemis 1, now I'm gonna be there for Artemis 2. I'm very excited about it. I'm a little disappointed of all this cold air, because it does look like that is going to cause another delay. Not official yet, but I'm just looking at the picture here. All right, so high pressure off towards our west. This storm starts to move away. Monday, it's still going to be sunny. It's going to be clear, but it's going to be cold. All right, pretty much we're warming up only into the 50s here on our Monday. That high pressure is going to give away, and then we'll get a little bit warmer by late week. But Wednesday night into Thursday morning, yeah, you can see another low. Now, this is going to be nothing like the one we just saw. With that cold air in place, some parts of the Appalachians out there into North Carolina, Tennessee, could be looking at some snowfall. But just in general, I do anticipate a little bit of rain here in Jacksonville overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So let's take a look at our temperatures, at least as we go ahead through tonight. Once again here for your Monday morning, you see we drop into the 30s, potentially into the 20s for some of you. Then we scroll it ahead to Monday afternoon. You know, we warm up into about 53. You can see there, 4 o'clock. And then heading into Tuesday morning, once again, back into the 30s. Now, you know what's interesting? All right. So if we hit the 30s by, let me go back to this graphic. If we hit the 30s on Tuesday morning, that would mean that we hit 8 consecutive days, or low 30s, I should say, below freezing, this 32 right here. We would have 8 consecutive days of below freezing temperatures. Why is that important? That would tie the record since 1871 for the longest stretch of below freezing days in Jacksonville, Florida. 1871 being the start of official records in Jacksonville, when somebody was actually tracking the thermometer every day since then. Yeah, pretty cold. Is it going to snow? No, it's way too dry. And you can see that here in our humidity outlook. Basically, the darker reds and browns here indicating that dry air. The moisture is going to build back in by Wednesday night, as I mentioned, because of that next shot of rain overnight, but it will be too warm by that point. So we're continuing to just kind of sit in this very dry and frigid weather pattern here. Once again, for anybody jumping on our social media platforms, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or anything like that, I would love to hear from you. Let me know how the weather is where you are, and if you're doing good, you're staying warm, of course we want to hear from that. But also if you have any issues with your pipes or anything like that, which is something I want to get to here in just a second. So Here's a look at that northwesterly breeze continuing to dominate here as we go ahead through tonight into tomorrow. Let's rewind it because I remember Susan asked specifically about this. And right now we still have a little bit of a breeze, but you can see here by 7:38, and then we go ahead after midnight. So there's 1 o'clock in the morning. Winds are still coming out of the northwest, and you could call it breezy, but it's gonna be like 5 gusting to 15 miles per hour, considering last night was gusting to 35 to 40 miles per hour. So it is far less. So you're not worried about the wind out there tonight. You are worried about the cold because less wind actually could lead to just overall cold temperatures. This polar air mass is already in place, and we're going to be looking at that mercury falling. Just like today, we got down to 21, or our forecast was 21. Actually, I need to bump this up for tomorrow. I want to show you all of the state of Florida because I know tonight we're going to be getting into the 30s. What was that, Marlo? Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what, Marlo? And behind the studio, I wasn't sure if we were going to run a break today, and we are because we got to make some money here. So that's good. That gives me time to take a cup of coffee and let you guys think about if you have any questions you want to ask me. We're back. Hey there, Jacksonville, and everyone around the First Coast, or wherever you might be watching from. That's the fun part about FCN Plus. You can watch anywhere. Anyway, so here's our cold weather advisory for the entire First Coast heading through our Monday morning. And I know it's just blue on the map, and the good news is not the dark blue. That's what we had last night with the extreme cold weather. We're just a few degrees, well, we're not seeing the wind chills. That's the big thing heading into tonight. But we are still going to be cold. And you can see here on the First Coast, there's your low temperatures heading into your Monday morning. I didn't edit it. Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can just type that real fast. Here we go. Monday. There you guys go. You see me analyzing here with you. That is for your Monday morning, I promise. All right, so 24 degrees in Jacksonville. The beaches will be warmer. 27 there at St. Simon's, St. Augustine, Palm Coast, Placa 24 tomorrow morning. It's I would like to say it's not as cold as this morning, but it's still going to be cold enough to cause issues. And that's the big thing we've been talking about here. Here's your checklist, friends, okay? Protect people, pets, obviously. One of our digital directors here at First Coast News, she checks on those cats in her neighborhood. It's really incredible and just keeps them safe. But also your pets, don't leave them outside. How about protect those people? Make sure that anybody that you know that is vulnerable to the cold, or maybe. And it goes into the third checkpoint here, or not the third, the last one. If you know any of your friends or family that might have lost water, check on them. Make sure they're doing good here, because that's going to be a big issue tonight. And also, thankfully I didn't see any reports of house fires today, but make sure you practice that fire safety. You know what I did smell a lot though this morning? Smoke. And it does tell me that people were running their fireplaces versus the conventional heater. I even saw somebody on the side of the road on my way into work today selling firewood, which I've never seen in Jacksonville, Florida. That was different, but it might be necessary. The pipes. Check your pipes. This could be a lot of people, when you connect to the to JEA in Jacksonville, your pipe comes out of the ground just like that, and that's where it's most vulnerable. I did see people wrapping them. I did see people putting something over top of it, even a tarp or anything like that. Just any way to try to keep your pipe even a little bit warmer. But the other thing is you might just want to run the tap just a little bit. You don't have to full board it overnight. Just run it, because that water moving through the pipe will allow it to not freeze. But the big thing is that ice is more when water freezes, it expands. Physics. So let's say that pipe freezes, it expands, and then it creates a backup. Most pipes go about 300 to 600 psi. That's what they can hold, pound square inch. But when you get water coming from the city, especially, it can up that to about 6,000 psi if it gets stuck behind a blockage, aka ice. And that's where your pipes burst. So it's a combination of that expansion of the ice, but also the blockage not allowing water to get through. So one of the big ways you can do is, well, first off, cover those pipes outside. Disconnect your hoses, of course. Maybe you can drain the water if you're worried about your hoses. Also, open your cabinet doors under the sink if you're a little worried about the pipes right under your sink. You might open those cabinet doors up, especially like your kitchen sink. Allow some of the warmer air to get in there. But number one thing is probably want to cause that little drippage, get the flow going through on your pipes so they can stay a little bit better here. We don't have to worry about you losing water and God forbid having burst pipes, as well as you've seen right there. Yeah, and this has been the case all over town. In fact, coming up at First Coast News at 6 and 6:30, if you are watching, I hope you are, because you can watch it right here on FCN Plus. Where Zach Wilcox is actually out there talking with JEA. I know that JEA is actually having issues with the JEA pipes, not just the house pipes. So they're going to have tips and everything, and just keep you informed about what you can do tonight, especially if you're still having issues with your water out here. So once again, a weather impact alert in place here. We've been talking about this for days, this cold air through tomorrow morning. Record lows today, and we're probably going to see record lows tomorrow. One thing I'm neglecting as well is my car. So I've had the low air pressure tire on my car all day. I went and ran the marathon this morning, half. Gotta give respect to the marathon runners. And then when I got done, too exhausted to put air in the tire. And then I came to work. And now anytime I go near my car, it's like, hey, fill up my tires, because the temperature fell so fast, the air condenses in your tires. It's going to cause those air pressure to drop, and then it just loses some stability on your car. My advice, and this is not a paid promotion, I'm just telling you, Wawa has free air. A lot of places don't. You have to pay. You have to throw like a quarter in or something like that to get some air. Wawa has free air. There's always a line too. So if you need to go somewhere and your car is giving you issues and saying, "Hey, give me some air here," because if you drop 10 degrees, that equals one drop in 1 psi, which we dropped quite significantly from 2 days ago to yesterday. So you might have lost at times, probably like 5, 6 psi at the very least in your car. So here's a look at the forecast for your Sunday. 52 degrees. It's still going to be frigid out there, but not as windy. So that's the good news. This is actually for Monday. Goodness gracious. Why I gotta update I updated all the numbers on all of these. I went through and I updated the numbers, but did I update the date so people actually know what they're looking at? No. There you go. I did it. I'm glad we're doing this together right now. 52 degrees here for your high on your Monday. Still frigid, but not as windy. Tuesday, cold start, but at least we have that warmer afternoon in our forecast. That's something I'm looking forward to. Just a little bit warmer. We're going to get up into the 60s, and hopefully that does allow some thawing of a few of your pipes out here, because boy, it has been chilly. And I'm sure there are some people whose pipes probably never completely thawed out today. All right, so let's look ahead at your most accurate forecast. I got a few moments here left with you before we got to go here. And yeah, 43 was our high today. That's about where we got. 41 right now. I mean, this is about it. 24 tomorrow morning. We still have a weather impact alert in place. The good news, as our one question we had on our social medias here during our live chat together just now from Susan, thank you very much, Susan, was, is it going to be windy tonight? The wind will be there, but it won't be nearly as bad. I'm actually probably going to drop that down the northwest 5 to 15 miles per hour. And then we warm up nicely, 62 on Tuesday, and all right, let's all look at Wednesday and just take a deep breath together here. 70 degrees. Before a little bit of a cool down by Thursday, and in the Friday, and there's another cold front that's going to drop us back down to the freezing point. But hey, it's February, which, by the way, let me see, which day is Groundhog Day? That's coming up here on Wednesday. So Wednesday's going to be nice and warm. Let's hope that groundhog sees doesn't see a shadow, right? That's it, because that means he stays out. Around here